Good day, everyone. My name is John Murray. I'm the VP of Sales for North America for GlobalSign, and I'm here today to talk to you about our Managed SSL application, which is part of our broader GlobalSign Certificate Center application suite of PKI tools for enterprises. Today, we're going to specifically speak about the Managed SSL portal, which is used to issue SSL and TLS certificates to enterprise customers. So, starting with when you log in to your account, you're going to see your Managed SSL dashboard. I have Managed SSL set as my default application. So I come right in and I can see that I have various things related to my account, such as upcoming renewals, whether or not I have any domains that need to be renewed, or see what's expiring, which I don't have any currently, and any approvals, order approvals that I might need to view and approve or reject depending on their merit. I can come in there and do that as well. You also notice that you have an area here where you can see your profiles, and those profiles are related to what's actually outputted when you order a certificate onto the certificate for the distinguished name information. I can have multiple profiles for different groups or subsidiaries of my company, and I can easily add new profiles. There's quick buttons here for reporting. So if I need to take a look and see what I have for certificates, for instance, I can quickly come here and find certs that are that have been issued or are pending or in any state. I can use advanced features to filter by particular application dates or issue date or expiration date, so I can run reports with date ranges very easily. I can look based on who might have ordered the certificate by the status of the actual certificate, what state it's in currently, whether it's been issued or it's in process. And I can also view by various products depending on what I'm using in my account. So you can basically come in and find your orders. You can act on those orders very quickly from within the report view, where I can reissue or revoke or perform some other basic actions on a certificate. I can also dive into orders very quickly here to perform maintenance or updates to a certificate. If I need to cancel an order that I maybe placed and for whatever reason it wasn't ordered correctly, I can come in and cancel it. It will go back into the funds from that certificate would go back into my bulk balance or back into my license if I had a SAN license, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And I can add and remove SAN. So if I need to add another FQDN to a certificate, I can come in here and not have to cancel it. I could just go in and add an additional fully qualified domain name to the certificate. And I can get various views, whether I want full order details, which shows everything related to the certificate, to more specific about who the users were and the billing contacts, email logs of what emails went out related to this order, as well as an audit trail here to see what actions were taken from the time of order to the time of issuance. So very intuitive. Ordering certs is very easy. I can come down here and just, based on the profile that I want to order against, I just hit order certificate. You'll get a very familiar looking area here where you can take your certificate signing request or CSR and paste it in. I have one handy in my clipboard, which I can then quickly perform a check on the CSR. It will show me the details of the actual CSR and then the certificate contents when issued. This is what was vetted, so I was vetted with these details, and this is what's actually going to get stamped in the certificate. That's the information that we've authenticated. Can hit continue, choose the type of certificate I want. I'm vetted at the organizational level, so I'm going to choose organizational SSL. We have an option for promotion codes if there's a coupon or a campaign code for a discount. And then the type of certificate I want to order, whether it's single domain, wildcard, or public IP cert. I have some advanced features turned on in my account, so I could actually add some additional key usages or extended key usages to my certificate if I had a specific use case that required that. And then, of course, validity period, you can get a 6 months or a year, up to 2 years now currently. And then if I'm switching from a competitor, there's an option here that would take any time remaining from your existing cert with the same FQDN from a competitor, and would take that and transfer that over to your certificate, as long as your maximum validity doesn't exceed the industry standard of 27 months. So, and then if you're renewing, it's a little bit of a process if you're renewing another GlobalSign certificate. So I didn't choose validity period, so I'm going to choose a half year and hit continue. And then I can quickly fill in my information, find my user details, save me a little bit of time here. I'm going to be the point of contact on the certificate, so I'm just going to hit continue. It's going to confirm. We obviously offer a site seal if people want to use it. This would be the information. This is my vetted organizational information that would be displayed on a site seal if I were using that on my website. And then I can put comments in relative to the certificate. I'm using a licensing model, so there's no money here. It's part of my license, and I'll talk to you, like I said, a little bit later about how we, from a commercial perspective, how we handle that. And then it'll go through and confirm all the information, can agree to a subscriber agreement, and then complete the order. It'll fire back, your summary here, as well as your order number related to this particular order. And we'll go in and find that in a few minutes once it's issued. But back to the main menu here. Again, I can see various things. Domains, obviously, you have to maintain now because we have to validate your domains every 27 months. So you'll see I have a list of domains related to my account, and if I had actions related to renewing these, there would be an action button there related to that as well. And I just ordered it, and again, my account is set up with a SAN license, so we can easily come into I have a license set up where I have up to 500 certificates that I can issue OVs, up to 500 fully qualified domain names. I've used 7 of those, and I have, in wildcards count as 5 domains. That's a standard number that we use for a wildcard certificate, which can be bound to multiple host names. And then I also have a license for 100 to 100 of our intranet SSL certificates, which are our privately rooted certificates used for internal applications where you may need to use host names or internal IP addresses, which you can't now use on public certificates. So I can easily, and then I can see any certs that I may have ordered outside of my license here, and it tells me the number of those certs as well. Those could potentially be orders before I switched over to a SAN license. So you can see here very easily, can go in and let's take a look. I'm going to go back and go to the reporting, and we can find our recent order here. We can see that you can see my order that's in process here, and it's application completed. It's in process of issuing. Should we see that issue? But let's dive into an order here so I can actually show you what actions you can take on a particular order. So once an order has been placed and it's been issued, you can see all the information. You can come in and you could reissue the certificate. We allow you to do an unlimited number of reissues, which you might do if you were switching servers or you had to move it to another platform. It's a lot of times a lot easier to reissue it versus exporting the certificate and try to import it. Obviously, if there's been some sort of a security issue and you suspect a private key has been compromised, you can also revoke the certificate. I'm on a SAN license, so I can cancel orders at any time, and then my license will go back into my license bucket. So that's one of the advantages of having a SAN license. Normally, you can cancel a certificate within 30 days, and the money will go back in your account. But if I'm on a license, I can perpetually cancel those, and I can loosen up spaces on my license to issue other things, or if I'm using pre-production or situations where I have a staging environment where the domain name's on permanent and I want to issue a few certificates, then I can do that, and then when I want to go to production, I could cancel those orders and then reutilize those licenses for the production environment. Another nice feature is I can actually add and remove SANs or FQDNs, fully qualified domain names, from certificates. So if I want to come in, I made a mistake and I needed to add another SAN to the order, I could come in here and add an additional SAN. I have a couple SANs already on the certificate, but I could add another one and continue, and it would just take up another slot of my license. Or if you're on a traditional model, per certificate model, it would charge you what add the dollars out of your account for adding an individual SAN, depending on what type of SAN it is. So very flexible. So we'll go back here. I think my certificate, I got an email. You'll get email notification because I was the point of contact when the certificate was issued. So I come back, search for my order here. I'll search for everything. It'll be the last order in the account. And you can see that here it is, it just issued. So that was our order. Again, I can, perform a number of different actions on it, or come back and modify that order, or cancel it if I made a mistake, and it would go back into my license. If I want to look at all my orders in a CSV file or Excel, I can very easily export a detailed or simple report and fire that up. If I want to take a look at all my orders, you can see here, I'll drag that over into the window. So you can see I've got my Excel with all the raw data from all my orders. It has every field that's related to those particular orders. So if I need to do any financial reconciliation or other things, I can easily punch out a Excel file from my account. There's some housekeeping things that you can also do. Keep in mind that this application, this is the GlobalSign's Certificate Center. We're discussing Managed SSL, but we have other tabs on here. You can order all kinds of certificates from this one account. So if you needed client certificates for email encryption or document signing, you can come over to a different tab. If you are issuing those in bulk or to a larger audience, we have a whole management system that's designed called Enterprise PKI. We'll be doing another series on that particular application. For issuing user certs, document signing credentials, code signing is obviously another thing that we have. There's some housekeeping things, so you can add users to your account very easily. So I can come in here and I can manage my I'm the administrator on the account. I could easily change that and switch it over to one of my other colleagues that's registered with the account. I can come in here, I can add users at any time. We don't charge you to add users. I can deactivate users and I can add them, new users to my account and give them access. I can set them up as either a manager or a staff user, and those two different levels have different implications on what they can do and how I can throttle their usage and what they can do within the account. So you can basically, and then if somebody leaves, I can come in here and I can basically void their account so that they can't use their credentials to access this anymore. There's a number of billing things depending on your business model. You can add money to your account if you're using a per certificate model. There's ways that you can obviously use credit cards. You can register a credit card with the system. If you want to use a credit card to place orders, and depending on what your commercial desired commercial model is, we can set you up in a lot of different ways to meet your needs. You can also within the account, you can set up some different things on a per profile basis. Each profile has its own set of domains that you can manage. You can add different domains. Again, the multiple profiles is typically used when you have your organization may have subsidiaries that you want to maintain branding with, where you want to use the name of the company of your subsidiary where they're a legal entity. That could be one particular scenario that's very common. So you can have multiple profiles with your account. We can set your account up so that you can be configured for that. You could also have a public ordering page, which is a way that if you don't want to have to give individuals within your organization access to the account, you can set up this public ordering page, which you have your own unique URL that you could distribute to people, and they could very easily you could provide them this link, and I'm going to show you what that page looks like. And they could come in here, and it's a very simple ordering page. I have a PIN set up on that I have to enter in a PIN in order to access it. And And I can come in here, and this would be something I would give to some, not giving them access to the system. They can come in here, they can paste in their CSR, whatever details they need for their order, put in their information. I can add unique fields that I can collect information that's not typically associated with a certificate order. Like a cost center code is very common, where people want to do chargebacks to different departments or groups. Different concepts here, business unit. There's different things that you can add here, and these can these can be made required or not required through the page. And basically, once this order is submitted, this is going to flow into my managed SSL account, and it's going to come into my pending approvals. You can see here I've got a few orders that were placed using this. And those orders would never go through and be immediately issued. Those orders would have to be approved by an administrator or a manager with approval rights who has access to the portal. And they could come in here and approve or reject en masse or individually. You can obviously drill down into the order so you can see order details, so you can decide whether or not this is a valid order or not. And if you reject it, it actually gives you the option to put comments in that goes back to the requester. So if you had questions about why they placed the order and wanted to reject it and redo it, you could put instructions in there as well. Now I'm vetted at the OV level. You can see both of my profiles. That means the organizationally validated level, but I can also request, if I want, if I'm using extended validation certificates that give more information about my organization in the browser bar, I can upgrade my account at any time to the next level to EV. It will require me to enter in some additional information because EV requires some physical address information as well as some information about incorporation status and type of incorporation and some other details, but I can do that at any time and upgrade my account. And related to domains, you can also add domains very easily to your account. Again, we don't charge for you to add domains, so you basically would come in here and enter your domain that you want to add to your account. It would want to know who's related to this request. And then it would give me some of the options. Vetting now for authenticating, there's a bunch of different options. Commonly, we use an email verification where it would go out and do a screen scrape of the whois record. This wasn't really a valid domain, so I really couldn't find that, but it would give me some standard email addresses. I could also use a HTTP verification where I put a code, a domain verification code, in a specific location on my site. I can use a DNS record as well, where you use a domain verification code on your actual domain record. So those are some options that make it much more easy for you to add domains at your leisure. So back to the main page. You can also, in addition, you can manage domains as well. So if you have domains that are no longer valid for your organization, you can remove them from your account. And then I alluded to certain levels of users also have the ability to limit what they can do. So by a domain basis, if they're a staff user, I can come in here and throttle, do I want them to be able to place orders for one? Do I want to be able to approve them? Or even revoke those certificates. So it really depends on the person and their role in your organization. But I have the ability to domain by domain limit those staff users to very specific domains that they can order from. So you might have somebody who does your .net domain, somebody who does your .com domain, and different people with different jurisdictions. So you could set that up in here and assimilate that. There's also another tab over here which I want to mention, SSL certificates. This is a more of a manual ordering tab. Managed SSL, the whole point behind that is that you have a pre-vetted domains and you can instantly issue certificates. I got my cert, you saw me order it, within a few minutes my cert was issued. But if I needed to order something that I wasn't pre-vetted for, a new domain, and I needed a quick certificate, I could come in here through this tab and I could order, say, a domain validated certificate, which would use an email validation process, and I could get a cert potentially, more quickly if it was, say, on a weekend or something, and I couldn't get a domain vetted right away. Typically, an organizationally validated domain takes a couple business days for us to authenticate. But that gives you another option. You can hide this tab too. There's different options here, so I can set my default tab, which tab I want to come into. I use MSSL mostly, so I would obviously have it set to MSSL. But I can also hide the SSL tab if I don't want people potentially making a mistake and ordering from the wrong tab, not using the pre-vetted domains. I can hide that from my users. And then, like I said, you can come in. This is really kind of a one-stop PKI shop, if you will. You can come in here and get other types of certs. So if I need code signing, an offhand document signing certificate, we're partners with Adobe, and we do the Adobe Authorized Trust List certs. So, I mean, you can come in here and buy one-off certificates or a one-off personal sign certificate for secure mail. Or if I'm doing that more in scale and I need to be issuing, like with MSSL, dozens to hundreds or thousands of certificates, we have a whole other application which has different workflows and different, processes for getting certs to individuals and versus to machines. So, but that deserves its own session. So. I just wanted to walk everybody through the Managed SSL portal today and do appreciate your time, and look forward to talking to you again. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching. For more GlobalSign videos on identity, cybersecurity and PKI, please follow one of the links on your screen. To keep up to date with the latest content, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.